Hello and welcome to another vlog. I don't actually know what this vlog is going to be, bear with me. I've been filming the odd thing on and off for the past few days, but it's been a very strange week. We've been back to homeschool yesterday, today's Tuesday, and last night the Prime Minister made an announcement about all the stages to come for coming out of lockdown. So we now know the children are going back to school in a couple of weeks, which is great, but for Lilia it's going to be a bit difficult. She's going to have to wear a mask all the time, even in class, and she has to be tested twice a week, which, you know, is fine. We have to do what we can do, but that test is horrible, and twice a week when you're 14 going on 15 is difficult, but we'll get through it. We've got through everything else over the past year after all. I've been filming some things over the past few days, so I think I'm just going to shove that in here. I've no idea what I've got, so apologies for the sort of weirdness of this. And then I'm just going to film some bits today and tomorrow, I think, and just take you along with me and show you some bits I've been working on. I wanted to talk a bit about my life book because I'm getting ready to think about what I'm going to do when this is finished. So my life book, which I'm calling it because thanks to one of the viewers, or a couple of the viewers on this channel, they came up with the name life book because I didn't know how to describe it, because it's not a diary, it's not a journal, it's not a sketchbook, it's not a scrapbook, but it's also all of those things at the same time. And I started it at the beginning of the first lockdown in 2020, and I've kept it ever since. So I thought I'd do a little look through here with you, just to show you what I do, and then talk about how I plan to continue this post-lockdown, or when this book is finished, because I've only got about, well, I've got a few more pages left in here before I have to worry about it, but I just want to talk about what this has meant to me and what I've done, and how this has worked for me as an alternative to some of the sort of more aesthetic things, just in case that it might be of interest to you how I've done it. I always feel a bit funny talking about stuff because I never want to sound like I'm an expert on anything, because I'm an expert on absolutely nothing. But I always do think it's fun to share things that worked for you, because if there's nothing else that I want from this channel, it's that at least one person might be putting their hands up going, me too, I feel like that too, or oh my gosh, I always think that too, or, you know, oh, I've watched that too, I've read that too, I'd like to do that too. You know, it's that kind of connection with other like-minded souls who are sort of feeling like they're adrift in the world without a group. Does that make sense, or am I waffling? I've got labyrinthitis at the moment. It's where when a thing in your inner ear gets inflamed. So I feel a bit drunk. I feel like I've got vertigo, and I feel like I'm on a boat, and I feel a bit giddy. So I've taken an antihistamine because that does help. And I've been drinking lots of water. But yeah, I do feel a bit giddy. Who knows where this video is going to go?
Oh, popcorn, sweet.
Remember I washed it, I put it in fresh water.
Oh.
So here it is, the Coronavirus Diaries, or my life book, as it's turned into. I started it in March 2020 when we first went into lockdown as a way of recording what was happening in the world. The index is nothing special, it's just a list of what's on each page, which I suppose is what an index is. And when I started to run out of room, I just added this little flap by sellotaping it in. It started off as a place to keep ideas for homeschooling when it was all very new. We didn't know what was happening, to keep track of what the kids were supposed to be doing day to day. I put ideas for sort of more fun things that we could be doing alongside the homeschooling, which just isn't possible now because the homeschooling's more full on. And then I started to put in photos. I always left pages free. And then I started ordering photos as the months went on to stick in a bit like a photo album. This made me laugh when I saw it. I obviously started a page to make notes about cooking and only ever made one note about risotto rice. Lots of diary entries throughout. I would just write in it whenever I felt like it. This one was just literally things to note about today. And then I started keeping little scraps of things that related to what we were going through, things I'd received in the post, little photos. Phoebe was counting down to my birthday at this point using rainbow stationery, which I thought was quite apt because rainbows were obviously a symbol of the time. Here's a list of what we planted. I decided it would be a good idea to keep track of the things we planted on what dates. And it's really interesting looking back at this. This is definitely something I'm going to continue to do because I now know that when we planted things, because we had such success with things like our lettuce and tomatoes and indeed the sunflowers. So I now know when we kind of really started to create our garden. More countdowns to my birthday. On this page I decided to track how the sunshine moved around the garden, and I just every time, about every hour or two, I would look out of the window and make a note. So that was quite handy for planning what we were growing. This was just after my birthday. I saved some of the cards and things that came with gifts that I'd received, things I just wanted to remember as precious gifts from friends. And there's a doodle there that I did. I remember doing it really clearly. I was on the phone having a really bad day. VE Day happened during lockdown. It was the 75th anniversary and I kept all the homemade flags and things that we made to put in the window. This page here is another scrapbooky type page. I've saved stamps from a gift that I received in the post and of course a photo of one of our many walks locally. We had a new baby in the family who we never got to go and meet, and I kept her birth announcement. I did an activity for the children. We did a panic room. We locked them in the living room. They had to solve clues to escape. They enjoyed it so much. So I saved all of the bits of paper that we used as a reminder of the fun that we had. I made a little pocket to put the clues into. This is Phoebe finishing her poster to put in the window to show support for the NHS. And in this particular diary entry, I did an hour by hour look at our day in lockdown. I collected quotes that I came across, loads and loads of quotes shared by viewers of my channel. I was doing daily vlogs throughout most of March and April, and so many people shared some really helpful snippets. Some more photos. This was our window display that the kids did with all their rainbows, with crochet in there as well, of course. Some more planting at the end of May. That's when I planted chamomile, which I'll definitely do again this year. Here's a scrapbook page with bits of paper and things that were received in the post over lockdown. Some cinema tickets that Phoebe made for an at-home cinema experience, because obviously we couldn't go to the cinema. I saved some of the little rainbow decorations. You can see they're really faded now, that were in the window from the end of March right up until June, I think. And then I took them down to clean the window and I only put some of them back up. And then I gathered up all of the timetables the kids had made right at the beginning of lockdown, and then the sort of slightly more ordered one I made after we got into the swing of things, and kept those too as a reminder for what we did and how our days were ordered. So as you can see, the initial ones were a little bit all over the place and different. and I brought them together so that we could have lunch breaks and everything at the same time. This was the cafe that I ran. So because obviously we were at home 24/7, they had Monopoly money to buy snacks so that they didn't just snack all day. Interestingly now, even though we're in lockdown again, they don't snack in the same way. They've just got used to being sensible. I stuck photos from our holiday to France. We were very, very lucky to get away, and I pasted photos using washi tape over the diary entries I made. Some more scrapbooking. And now we're in October, can you believe it? This is our pumpkins. I thought it would be good to have a record of our lockdown, well, our pandemic pumpkins. Phoebe took part in a study for doing the COVID test. So of course I had to document that. And this is some more stuff from our homeschool wall. We had that sign up for the whole of the term from March until summer. I had to do a COVID test at one point because I did have symptoms. It was negative. And of course I kept the test receipt card. And Christmas was also affected by the pandemic. We ended up in lockdown at Christmas, and that's them on Christmas Day. This really made me laugh when I got the decorations out. I'd written a note to myself back at Christmas 2019, and it says, Merry Christmas 2020, hope it's been a good year. If only we knew what was coming. I saved some Christmas cards, and then I've got some photos that I took over Christmas and New Year, and then I had some extra photos from our holiday, so I just made a bit of a photo album here. Added some lovely photos and memories. Phoebe made signs for the back of the chairs in the kitchen when the girls went into isolation for 2 weeks in November, because we had like a mini homeschool for 2 weeks. So everyone had their own chairs. And we've still got those names on the chairs now, and she still gets upset if we sit in the wrong ones. The girls did a brownie activity where they made a mobile on Zoom. So I kept some of the bits they did as a reminder of them doing activities on Zoom. This is a little sketch I did just today. Turning right to the back page, I did this right at the beginning of lockdown. I made a little pouch at the back, called it Brighter Days Ahead, and I saved all the things we had been planning to do. There was a musical we were going to take Lilia to for her birthday, there was a Strictly Come Dancing tour, and there were vouchers for the local garden centre for like half price stuff or cups of tea and things like that, which of course we couldn't use any of them, and I should really get rid of them now. They can't be used anymore, but it's kind of a reminder of the life that didn't happen for that year. I made a little makeshift envelope at the back to keep the things that wouldn't be small enough to stick into the book itself, and these are things like letters from the government, leaflets, cards and so on. I took part in the COVID-19 antibody testing research study, so I kept the paperwork for that. We had letters from the schools about reopening when they went back in September. At the beginning of March, everybody in the UK got a letter from 10 Downing Street from the Prime Minister instructing us what to do or what not to do during lockdown. So I kept the letter, because that's a little bit of history there, isn't it? And that's the leaflet that came with it, with all the instructions for how to stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. Father's Day's in June here in the UK, and the girls both got sort of topical Father's Day cards for him, which I thought was so funny, and I had to keep them. They both chose them themselves. This is the one from Lilia, which is a bit of a Mickey take of the way Boris Johnson delivered messages. And this one's from Phoebe. Dan's a big fan of the Beatles. So there they are on Abbey Road, staying 2 metres apart. And this is the leaflet I got after my first COVID vaccination. So that's my coronavirus diary, or my life book. I'm really pleased with it. I'm really looking forward to developing it when I do it again. And I'm really looking forward to finishing these pages as well. And I hope you enjoyed that little tour.
No?
He's a Greek philosopher.
Oh.
There's no one like you, my little girl. Your eyes so blue under those brown curls. Soon you're on your way, promise me that you know the world is yours. Strike them with your glow. Go on now, be good, be fine. Live your life, dream big, don't forget to be kind. Live, it's your life. Rocks are meant to be picked up and thrown.
I'm just making a cup of tea before I go up to have a quick chat to you, and I wanted to very quickly say whilst I'm making it, thank you to everybody who commented on my last bookshelf tour video. It was really interesting reading your comments, and so many of you gave me some really good recommendations for books that I've added to my Amazon wish list or Amazon cart. I've even bought one. I bought The Giver, which is the first book to the Gathering Blue book. So thank you to everyone that mentioned that, and thank you to everyone that's recommended other books. It was really interesting hearing your views and about your own love of reading. Yeah, so that wasn't the only bookshelf in the house. We have many areas where books are stashed and stored, particularly in the bedroom at the moment where we're emptying everything out. So I'll do another one of those in the future if you want. It might be fun. I'd like to do the bedroom books, the books that we've got upstairs in our bedroom. Might be interesting to do one of the kids' bookshelves, because obviously they're quite different ages, so it'd be books for sort of 10-year-olds, books for sort of 15-year-olds. Anyway, thank you to everyone that watched it and commented. Or thank you if you just watched it. I always say thank you for commenting, but honestly, just thank you if you're watching. It is only about 8:15 on Wednesday. this is about the only time I'm going to get to talk to you today, because on Wednesdays I work, and although I've taken the mornings off until the kids go back to school, I homeschool all morning and then I go straight from homeschool into work, straight from work into cooking dinner and all of that. I thought I'd film up in the bedroom to give you a little idea of the chaos that we're in. You can just about see the edge of the pile of stuff that's coming out of the wardrobes here. And there's a bit of wood over here, and yeah, it's chaotic. The plaster is now booked for just under 4 weeks. So we've got to get moving. And I wanted to mention my plans for life booking. That's what we seem to be calling it. Life booking going forward. So we have a plan now here in the UK to come out of lockdown by June. I would imagine my current coronavirus life book will last until then, at the rate that I'm writing in it, and the paraphernalia and memorabilia amount that I put in. And then going forward, I'm just going to keep a life book, but I'm going to change it slightly. I do want it to be a little bit more creative. I am a very creative person. I love drawing, I love art, I love all kinds of crafting. So I do want to incorporate that a little bit more than I have been. The coronavirus diaries, obviously served a purpose of recording a very specific time. This is going to be more of a record. And I really do like, as much as I've got proper sketchbooks and I love them, I really do like keeping sketches and notes and things on paper that's not really supposed to be used for that. And I'd like to sort of look a bit more into altering pages and a bit of an element of junk journaling and so on. I've got a lot to learn because I know absolutely nothing about any of this stuff. So I've got this book from my friend Annette. Annette lives in Denmark. Hi Annette. And she's absolutely lovely. And she sent me this yellow book. It's in sections that I stuck the stamps from the envelope inside already. And I'll probably do a little decoration around that and make a note. And I've got the note that she sent me glued in the back. And it's got sections in it. So I've got lined section, a squared section, a dotted section, and a plain section, which kind of lends itself to like having a different section for different things. But I think I would get a bit too caught up in that, so I'll probably just work through it page by page as and when I've got stuff to put in. Maybe I might use one section, maybe the plain section at the back might be good for the scrapbooky section. I've said section too many times now. So that's what I want to do. I want to use it as I've shown you, as a diary, as a scrapbook, but I do want to introduce elements of junk journaling and art journaling into it at the same time. And alongside that, with one of my proper sketchbooks, which I haven't brought up with me, but I'll put a little overlay video in. I want to try and keep a proper sketch journal. It's something I follow a lot on Instagram, people who do sort of diary sketchbooks of certain things that are happening, and I think that's a lovely way to use a sketchbook. When we were in France last year, I sketched every single day rather than taking a yarn based project with me, which I normally would, like knitting or crochet. I only took my sketchbooks, and every day at the time when the kids were in the pool and Dan was reading, I would get sketchbooks out, find myself a corner and draw something. Or if we were out and about during the day, I would take a picture to draw later. I did that with a building at Saint Malo, the Fort National that was, and spent a very happy hour drawing that. I drew one of the chickens. And I'd really like to continue that, because sketching gives you something that photography really doesn't, and that is that when you look at that sketch, you're back in that moment. And that's something that really interests me, and I'd like to explore more this year. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm not an expert on anything. This is me just blethering about my hopes and dreams for my crafting life. Yeah, so I'm about to go and get stuck into homeschooling. I'm so dizzy still. My labyrinthitis is like the worst I've ever had it. And it's in both ears. Normally I only get it in one ear, so I feel like I've got water in my ears. I can't hear properly. Which makes homeschooling interesting because it makes you feel tired. So I'm going to go make another cup of tea and stop blethering. And I hope you've enjoyed this strange and slightly disjointed little vlog. I put a post up asking if you'd be interested in daily vlogs. I'm going to go and reply to all the comments in a minute while I have my cup of tea. And you all said that you would definitely be interested in that. So I think I'm going to do that. I haven't done daily vlogs on this channel yet. I've done them quite a lot on my other channel, my knitting and crafting channel. So I think I'll do that in March. And I think, you know, obviously I'll be talking about my life, which involves a lot of crafting, a lot of knitting and crochet, a lot of drawing, a lot of parenting, a lot of tea drinking and the occasional glass of wine. So if you want to join me for that, I probably won't post a video. So what's the date today? It's the 24th. So next week, yes, I probably won't post a video until the 1st of March now, or the 2nd of March, depending on how the editing's going. So I'll see you then. I'll see you for March vlogs. And if you want to see anything in those vlogs every day, or if you have any questions, just drop me a comment underneath. And thank you as ever for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.